you've ever been interested in learning any history about Bartow, we have a good opportunity for you coming up at the Polk History Center. Upcoming on September 20th, the History Center will be celebrating its Sweet 16, and it's commemorating the occasion with a new architectural tour. At this tour, you're going to be able to explore the courthouse, learn a little bit more about the architecture of the courthouse, the construction of the building, and hear some pretty cool stories about Old Bartow and the old courthouse as well. The architectural tours are going to be every month on the third Saturday at 11 a.m. And here to join us today to talk to us a little bit more about the history and the architectural tour is Murtis Young. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about everything?
I am so excited to tell everybody about this. I'm happy to let you know that we have curated, we've written, scripted an architectural tour so that people can actually come into the building now and learn about the history of the courthouse and the architecture. This is really exciting. You know, I've always said to everybody, it's my opinion that that is the most important, the most significant building in Polk County.
Absolutely.
And so I'm so happy to be able to share this with everybody now.
All right. Well, who designed the 1908 neoclassical building?
Well, the building was actually designed in 1908 by the architectural firm of E.C. Hosford and Company of Eastman, Georgia, and then it was built by Mutual Construction Company of Louisville, Kentucky. And before we got to that point, it might be helpful for everybody to know just a few things that were going on in the area. So if I could maybe share a little timeline of when these gentlemen arrived on the scene or what was going on before these gentlemen arrived on the scene, so we can kind of set the stage for the building of this fantastic neoclassical building. So Florida became a state in 1845. So here's the beginning of the timeline. Just about 58,000 residents or inhabitants at the time in 1845. 1851 is when we first saw the settlers coming to the Bartow area, to Fort Blount, which was Fort Blount at that time. So then the next step that happened in 1861, Polk County was formed as a county, signed by the legislature February 8, 1861. So then what's happening after this period of time, in about 1866, cattle baron Jacob Summerlin arrives on the scene, and he has amassed his fortune by driving cattle across the state and liked this area and made quite a nice investment and donated 120 acres of land to Polk County, 40 for a courthouse, 40 for 2 churches, and 40 acres for a school. So that marked the stage. 2 courthouses preceded the 1908 courthouse. One was built in 1867, wood frame, so, you know, a little frail, started showing some age, a little sketchy on whether or not it was serving its purpose. So in 1884, a second courthouse was built. So then now we come to 1908, the building that we've just come to love so much. Mm-hmm. And so the architect and the construction company are on site, and within almost 9 months, this beautiful, new, supposed to be fireproof, neoclassical building is standing, representing open government to all the citizens of Polk County.
Oh, that's amazing. It's a beautiful building. So what are some of the features that visitors will see on their tour?
Okay, well, certainly the first thing that everybody notices is the neoclassical style, the symmetry that's in place, the doors that are open, north, south, east, west, representing open government to all citizens, government available to everybody. And of course then the huge Baroque dome that is the shining star, I think, when you come south on Broadway, that houses the courthouse clock. Then of course the other thing that is typical of neoclassical design are the massive doors and the oversized windows throughout the building, the Greco-Roman columns that are visible around the building. And then of course the other thing that's very interesting on the tour and that the visitors will learn about is that the structure that was originally built in 1908 had an addition in 1926. Tells another story about Polk County history. The Florida land boom created growth in the county, and during that period of time, the 1908 building, we sort of outgrew the space, In 1926, there were wings added on the east and west ends of the building. So that's part of the architectural tour, and seeing how that design complemented the earlier neoclassical design. So the stories in the interior and the exterior about the design of the building and the elements throughout the building are all a part of the architectural story that visitors will enjoy.
And it's absolutely beautiful. So can you tell us a little bit more about the lost architectural drawings?
Oh, that's a great story. That's a great story. Thanks for asking about that. So during the period of time, the courthouse closed in 1987, and the new courthouse opened, and everybody's gone. So then there was a discussion about what to do, and you know, there was a period of time when there was a discussion to just raise the building and build a parking lot. Thank goodness for the leadership. I know. The leadership in place at the time said, no, we're going to restore this building. We want it to be the most outstanding historical museum and genealogical library in the state of Florida. So that was the mission. So for about 10 years, the building went through an architectural renovation and restoration. So here's a great story. You can imagine during the period of time that it was in use, ceilings were dropped and walls were put up. The building was it went through retrofit after retrofit to accommodate the needs. So in the restoration, there really was a period of time, I understand, when the restoration architect was drilling holes and they were trying to determine where original walls were. Well, you might remember, I know a lot of our viewers will remember, County Judge Dick Prince was on the bench at the time of the restoration, and he owned a historic home a couple blocks away, and discovered I think in a wall of his home some architectural drawings. And then he thought, well, great, these are the drawings of my historic home. And he started looking at them and realized they were actually the original 1908 drawings for this courthouse. So you can imagine the joy of the Historical Commission, the Historical Society, and certainly the architectural firm to have the original drawings. It's a great story.
That is a great story. So what are some of the features on the second floor of the courthouse?
I think one of the most exciting things about getting up on the second floor is in the central part of the building in the rotunda, and when you're looking down through the rotunda, you can see the beautiful Robinson's art tile designed flooring that is prevalent throughout the building. And then of course when you look up, and you can look up through the dome area and see that space. Of course, the two rooms that are up there that are just, you know, I just am so in love with them. The two courtrooms, the 1908 courtroom, when the visitors enter that room, you actually walk into the courtroom as it stood in 1908. The judge's bench from that original period of time is back on display in that room. The jury bench has been restored and is visible. The floor, the 1908 hard pine floor, is original to that space. So it's just beautiful, beautiful architecture. So the two courtrooms, just the view through of the rotunda down to the first floor, just spectacular.
It is. I also love the story about the element falling and actually damaging the courthouse, and it was so heavy.
That's a great story. I'm glad you remembered that. About 1942, we had an incident in the courthouse. The clock that was originally in the dome, it's been replaced now, it's not there. The time was kept by cement weighted, these weights that, you know, kept the time. And in the evening, I think it occurred about 6 o'clock in the evening, one of those released and fell from the clock and hit the iron railing and then the tile floor and made such an explosion that there were people in Bartow thinking, oh, wow, we're under attack. So the clock created a little noise other than just chiming. It has been replaced now. I
just wanted to thank you for joining us today and telling us all about it. I know I'm excited about going and seeing the architectural tour.
Thank you, Tina.
As I said, join us for the architectural tour on September 20th at 11 a.m. The Polk County History Center is located at 100 East Main Street in Bartow. If you need any further information, you can visit them at their website at www.polkhistorycenter.org, or you can contact them. Their phone number is 863-534-4386.